DoorDash has more than $4 billion of cash flow right now. Wow. DoorDash 2022 quarter one earnings call report was yesterday. They take questions, they give answers to investors and people within the field. I'm going to put the transcript of it down below. I'm going to give you my reaction to some things I heard in it. Some things were a little surprising, most were not, but I want us to think past and read or think about, decipher through what they're really saying. Let's go. Pedro Doordash, I go back at you with another real life reaction video, whatever you want to call it, about DoorDash. Oh, my love-hate relationship with them. It's like DoorDash is like that ex-girlfriend that you had that was really hot but crazy. And she did some good things for you and some bad things for you, but you just can't seem to let go. Let's get into it. So DoorDash's stock price went up yesterday and it went down a little bit today, but when you have earnings news and there's good things and investors and people, whatever, they feel like they're hearing some positives about the future and, you know, the questions got answered. It gives people some feel-good feels, right? I think that happened yesterday. That's why the stock price went up yesterday. So, because it had been plummeting steadily for the last 6-8 months, whatever. So DoorDash reported, I'm not going to go over numbers necessarily because we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars of earnings. It's crazy. And all that they really make as far as even like their cash flow and everything else, they just put it right back into investing into certain categories and things that they want to do for the future because they want to be and they are going to be the biggest delivery company besides Amazon, especially in the food sector. And their whole thing is people in communities, whatever community that you're from, right? Getting local other community things from other local restaurants or even chain restaurants delivered to you. And it could be restaurants, it could be prescription. Their big thing that they did in the last really 6 months was implementing and really getting traction on their grocery orders, like those shopping pays that you do, Walgreens and Target and places like that. They've gotten a lot of traction with that because a lot of people like to have their groceries brought to them. And another key point, another thing that they've got, they talked a lot about Dash Pass, okay? And you can see that in the transcript, and there's even video out there on YouTube and other sites. Dash Pass, they have a lot of people that signed up for it, but then now they're using it. Repeat Dash Pass people that have the Dash Pass, they're actually using it multiple times in a week, multiple times in a month, and the Dash Pass is intended for consumers to get some kind of benefit, a savings. It's $9.99 a month, but if you order a couple times a month, really, then you have no fees and the taxes are cheap. Like it's crazy, right? You can save money, and it's a good thing. They even talked about wanting to have exclusive offers and benefits to people to Dash Pass. They want people to have Dash Pass because that's a guaranteed amount of money DoorDash can get from that consumer monthly as like a subscription that they could pocket. But then also they're going to know that if people have Dash Pass, they know that they're saving money. They might use it more often. Now let's take a quick little listen into some stuff here.
The delivery experience that will help with customer support costs as well as refunds. And then finally, there's leverage in certain parts of cost of sales as well as sales and marketing, which will help the margin structure. Now, beyond this, as our ads business scales, this is an incremental tailwind to the margin structure. So all of these things will come together to help the margins for the U.S. restaurant business grow and fund not just other things, but reinvestment in the core U.S. restaurant business. Because our objective is we're not running the U.S. restaurant business to harvest margins. We're still investing in U.S. restaurants in order to build scale and continue to grow category share.
Okay, some context. I'm sorry. So let's listen to another question. They took a lot of questions. Tony and this other guy, I think I can't remember what his name is, but his henchman basically. So let's listen.
Hi, good afternoon. I was just wondering, since you mentioned the unit economic changes on the convenience business and some of the other categories you're going into, can you compare and contrast those sort of unit economic curves, looking at maybe using the U.S. restaurants as a baseline and how maybe some of these new categories could be different as...
new categories. So DoorDash is they're getting into new categories. That's what they call it, right? You know, everything that I say about DoorDash and what we think about, we're always concerned with the driver's side. We're always concerned with, I didn't get a tip, too many miles, the app is glitchy, all things that we're like operations people, right? We're trying to we're the last part of the cog in the machine, and we're a very important part. But there's a lot of things that have to happen in the beginning, a lot of decisions that are made, a lot of things that we sometimes don't necessarily think about because it doesn't affect us in the now, but it can affect us in the future, right? So DoorDash is going to get into as much things as they can.
You have to remember that it's like comparing a 2-year-old to a 10-year-old, so it's kind of hard to compare them apples to apples. But I'll say that, in a matter of 2 years, given that we've got line of sight to at least break even unit economics in our 3P convenience business, it's quite remarkable. And you need to bear that with the fact that, we are number one in the convenience space, and this is just in a matter of 2 years. Over time, there's things that we will do to continue driving up those margins. So, I don't want to provide a forecast to where the margin structure gets to, because you've got to walk, crawl, run. And so we're right now at the walk stage. We're getting to break even, and then in the future, we'll continue driving up margins. Today.
So they're talking about they're number one in the convenience space in just 2 years. These guys have big plans, and they're reinvesting all their dollars that they get, right, into more growth into other areas, okay? Whether it's more rural areas, other parts of the country, other parts of the world, they're going to continue to grow. I say that because a lot of us think DoorDash will go under. It's the worst company ever. They treat drivers like crap. Some of those things might be true, but they're not going. I don't think they're going anywhere at all. I think they're going to continue to grow. I think they have a few very smart people from a business standpoint running the company and making some core decisions. They just don't. What we have to realize is, and while we talk about betting on yourselves and using the apps as a stepping stone, is because we are extremely disposable. None of these, what you see in this transcript or what you would hear if you watched it, they're not talking about the things that we talk about. The questions that are asked aren't questions that maybe I would even ask them necessarily. Some are, but some aren't. They're not thinking about the day-to-day stuff. They're thinking 10 years down the line. They're not thinking about if a customer tips or not. Like it's such a small moment for them. They're not thinking about mileage. They don't care about it. They care about customer acquisition. They care about how many people can they get on DashPass, how many more merchants and restaurants, not just food. How many more options can we offer the consumers so that they use and download the app more often with more frequency? That's it. Because there's power in numbers, and the more consumers they have, the more money they make. The more money they make, the better for the shareholders. That's just the bottom line of any business. You guys know that. But they're not thinking, this is an earnings call. They're not answering, and they're not going to answer questions that you and I would want, because things would be unleashed on them, right? We see it with Amazon now. Amazon has some unions got into the Amazon. There's one union, I think it's out in New York, right? That was a big win for the people that want to have that kind of stuff, because Amazon, especially in the warehouses, has some shady practices going on. They were mistreating workers, right? If some of the things that we deal with came out to the people that make decisions or line the pockets of these companies, like, it wouldn't look good for them. But they could blow smoke and talk all this stuff about growth and share these numbers and still hide the things that we think are valuable, because we have to understand our seat when we step into our car is very different than theirs.
The vast majority of the margin comes from the U.S. restaurant business. Other areas are sort of margin consumers, so to speak. But over time, as they hit maturity, you start to see us generate more and more profits from those other areas.
Great.
Let's listen to this next one.
So Q1 last year was elevated in terms of customer or other categories, not just restaurants. And so it's too early, because these are small percentages we're talking about. But over time, as DoorDash gets known for being, your destination for all things local commerce, that the source of what
local
product
commerce
these customers use when they first join DoorDash will undoubtedly.
Local commerce. That word local is a big deal to a lot of people. I like to eat local, shop local when I can. Local commerce. That includes the Popeyes down the street from Josh. Local commerce. They use these words because it gives people feel good about I'm ordering something local, right? It makes you feel good. You feel like your dollar is being spent local. And there's value in that. That's why they use that word. Some of those things might be true, but they're not going, I don't think they're going anywhere at all. I think they're going to continue to grow. I think they have a few very smart people from a business standpoint running the company and making some core decisions. They just don't, what we have to realize is, and while we talk about betting on yourselves and using the apps as a stepping stone, is because we are extremely disposable.
First question to talk, and then
it's Tony.
I'll handle the question of insurance.
It's Tony.
The reasons for the frequency gains are really coming from the improvements, in our product. I mean, there's certainly in parts, some of the order frequency gains came from increasing contributions from our DashPass subscriber base. But if you, when you step back, I think a couple of points still are very, very important. Number one, dining in and ordering delivery are very complementary. In fact, we saw this at almost every phase of the pandemic. There were, various geographies in various parts of the world, including the U.S., where certain states had reopened more aggressively, perhaps, than some others, where we saw that, in the past couple of years, and certainly we're still seeing that in the first quarter of this year and even currently, where, people are not substituting eating in with eating out. The second point I would say is we're constantly making improvements to the product. So we're constantly increasing selection, whether that's
constantly making improvements to the product. Interesting.
Restaurants, grocery stores, convenience stores, pharmacies.
The product he's talking about is Doordash or DashPass. Not the experience of the customer or our experience. It's the product. It's what they're offering as options to the people when they have the app. Now that you can double dash. Hey, you want to order from this local pizza joint? Oh, you want 7-Eleven too? That is what he's talking about there. It's more convenience, more options, right? It has nothing to do with us, guys. Doordash is a good way to make some side money hustle, some full-time money for a very short amount of people, for a very small percentage of people. But these big companies, I mean, there's 1,000 Pedros, and they know they can replace me tomorrow, and they can replace you tomorrow. You have to know that so you can make better decisions for yourself.
Stores, alcohol stores, retail stores, etc. We're increasing the quality of the deliveries by maniacally getting rid of defects. We're improving.
Improving what? The quality of the delivery? How do you improve the quality of delivery when you stack a crappy order with a good one, and the person that tipped really well to get their food quicker is stacked with somebody that didn't tip that's further away, and the person that didn't tip gets the food first? How is that quality? I'm not going to play the whole thing for you guys. Look at the transcript, find it for yourself. There's a few interesting little things, nothing shocking, but at the end of the day, I want you guys to remember one thing. You control yourself and if you work and how you work and what you make for the most part. I really believe that. Don't think DoorDash cares about you. They don't. And I don't think they're even supposed to on certain levels. They are just trying to get as many consumers to have the app on their phone. And then once that happens, have DashPass. And then they have a whole fleet of team of people trying to get as many merchants on the app, as many restaurants, as many everything that they can, so that they can just have a bigger footprint within the delivery game. Amazon started by selling books out of Jeff Bezos' garage, I believe, right? Now you can get anything under the moon and sun delivered to you from Amazon. Anything. There's nothing you can't say. Just not one item you can't get delivered from Amazon. DoorDash is trying to be that. They want to bring everything to you locally, whatever. You can even get things from New York, shipped from New York to St. Louis on DoorDash. You can get lobsters from Maine. I can get them shipped to me. That's their goal. They don't care about you. They don't care about us. They don't care about dollar to mile ratio. They don't care about if a customer tips or not. That's not even in their wheelhouse. It's just not. Drop a comment down below. What do you guys think? Did you know about this? Did you hear it? Did you, does it even matter? I think to most of us, it probably shouldn't. Because at the end of the day, this is a $1 billion company making $1 billion decisions. You got to do what's best for you to make your $100, $200, $300 and keep it pushing. Because they don't care about you. And they say they care about the customer. They've improved the quality of deliveries. That's laughable. See ya.